Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I am Rani Rohra, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with industry stalwarts interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulae for many. And this is what we aim to make these sessions, a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry titan on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Paramjit Singh, an avid technophile and engineer by heart, and currently the President of Operations at ETO Motors Private Limited. He has given his invaluable contributions to the field of technology. Having spent 19 years in telecom and 7 years in the energy and e-mobility domains, out of his 28 years of work experience, his expertise ranges across many niches, including mobile telecommunications, 2G, 3G, 4G and 5G, core and radio networks, telecom infra, battery technology, especially lithium-ion batteries and e-mobility, as he has spearheaded several such technological integrations and during his career. So, Mr. Paramjit Singh, your core expertise lies in technology. However, you have also handled aspects like service manufacturing, operations, and profit and loss ownership. What are the core competencies required for someone to be so versatile?
Yeah, thank you very much, Rani, for the fantastic introduction. And thanks to the World Development Corporation and the Directors Institute for giving me this opportunity. You asked about technology being my core competency. I would rather say that technology has been my passion since beginning. I'll tell you that I was selected in the civil services examination and got a very good rank. My all India rank was 116, and I was offered a very good service. At that time, I was working with the Indian Telecom Service, which is also a central civil service, but through a different examination. It's a technical service, engineering side. So at that time, I decided to stay back in the Indian Telecom Service, ITS, and rather than going to civil service. And I got a chance to work on the technology domain all these years, starting with this telecom. And now, if I look back, it was a very rewarding decision. So rewarding and fulfilling, because if you follow your passion, and then whatever you're doing, it is rewarding to you. So that is what happened to me on the technology side. And you asked about core competencies to be so versatile. Let me tell you, my roles got evolved over time. Started with very technical kind of roles, and as it got evolved, as I grew in the career, started doing many things which were techno-managerial, techno-commercial, or maybe overall management. As you said that I worked on the technology operations, then the service operations, manufacturing, many other things. But technology remained at the core of everything which I did till now. And in all those roles, ranging from this telecom to manufacturing to lithium-ion battery or whatever domains I worked on, two core competencies which remained central. If I look back, there is a thread going across all the things I've done. So one was my focus on the deliveries. whatever task is given to me or whatever is assigned to me, my focus is to deliver. Whatever are my deliverables, those have to be completed at any cost. So that, having a strong focus on deliveries, bring the ownership of that particular task that one has to complete it. It has always remained with me. The second was the customer centricity. Whether you are in whatever kind of work, you are into finance, manufacturing, supply chain, whatever you are doing, your focus should be on the customer. Whoever is your internal customer or external customer or end customer, whomever you are, supplying the service. So if that focus is there, you're able to do well, and then you need not to worry about anything else. So these are the two things, aspects which define my journey till now, I can say.
Right. Thank you, sir. Did you find adjusting to any of your roles difficult?
Very good question you asked. And for any professional, rather I should say any human being, goes into a new role, new domain, new kind of work. Initially, there are always, adjustment difficulties. So the, key lies in how quickly you're able to scale up. Adjustment difficulties are due to this, challenge of scaling up. Sometimes we get into a new thing and we have to scale up to that level which is demanded by that new role. And that is something where we have to, do it quickly. Okay, I'll give you example of one of my examples from my career. Then when I moved from BSNL DOT, I started my career with the DOT. When I moved it from there to Colt Technology. Colt is a European company giving service in the 13 different European countries. So all those countries had different regulatory processes, different technical flows and all. My task was cut out to build a IN product build center in India. I can say outsourced, back office in India, where all the technical things can be configured from India to all those 13 countries, and with a back, BCP set up in Bangalore. So it was in Gurgaon and Bangalore. So I had teams reporting into me from all those countries. Those were European teams. First time I worked with international teams in those days. And the second task thing was that those I had to outsource that work to India. If I hire 2 people in India, that means 1 person in Europe will lose his job. So my job was to transition their work, throw them out of the company, and bring their work to India. Quite a challenging one, and a Indian manager, a European team, and a guy who is tasked with taking away their jobs and taking their work back to his home country. So that was something different. In Government of India, in my first role, I never worked with that environment. So challenge lied in the as I said that scaling up quickly and working on that. Initially, it was quite challenging, or I should say difficult one to do. But in 1.5 years, around 1 year and 4 months, the complete task was done. All the technical flows were set up in India, which was not much of a difficulty for me being from the domain. But getting those regulatory approvals from all those countries, getting their teams hired here, and getting the work transition, trained people here had to be trained in Europe and get the work back to India. All that was done in 1.5 years, and after that, the company gave me the Leadership Excellence Award, their Settle Colt Award, which is given for a something good work. So that showed that if I took time in had I taken some more time in scaling up, I could have taken a year, 1.5 years, and I would have failed. So I had to start quickly and getting scaled up and getting the work. Another example comes to my mind when I first time I got the CTO role, Chief Technology Officer in Airtel. Although I had around 15-20 years of experience by that time, around 17-18 years of experience when they gave me that role. But at a CTO level, you have all the responsibility. Each and everything which happens in your circle, you are responsible for that. and there is no defined kind of job profile. You are responsible for everything from business to technology to everything. So initial 3-4 months were quite, I had to learn the ropes. And I remember I was CTO for Odisha Circle. When I joined Odisha Circle, it has 3,000 sites, 2G and 3G sites, and 4G rollout was the first I had to do in the telecom network. And when I left after a year, it had 7,000 sites, 3,000 legacy and 4,000 4G new sites were added. And the circle was complete 4G circle. And that is something which I cherish as a memory, that it was good work which I did there. So that is how I think it should do. I remember there is a book called The First 90 Days by Michael D. Watkins. It gives a complete step-by-step that when you go to a new role, how you scale up and what kind of things you have to do. I think that kind of things can be used as a framework by people who step into bigger roles. So.
Great. This is very enriching to know this, sir. It's very, very enriching. As you said correctly, having the entire setup from 2G, 3G to 4G was really commendable.
Thank you.
Yeah, right. So going ahead, sir, what advice would you like to give future disruptors of the corporate world?
Okay, so if I have to give one single advice, that advice should be, be loyal to your role. I'll explain how is it. We perform many roles during our work, right? I have my role as a employee, a role as a manager, a role as a customer, a role as a supplier, a role as a husband, a role as a son, a role as a father. At whatever point of time, whatever role I am into, I should be 100% loyal to that role. I think that is the single most important advice, which gives us, which is my personal, moral compass, as well as my, clarity of thought comes from this. I'll give you one example. For example, I am a hiring manager. I need to hire someone, and there is one of my best friends who wants to get hired. He is in the need of a job. When I'm as a friend, I'm, as a role as a friend, I'll say that, okay, give your CV to me. I'll look into it. And I will make sure that his CV goes through, processed by HR and goes to the right place, and he should be interviewed. There my role as a friend ends. And when I'm sitting on the chair of a hiring manager, that time my role should be of a hiring manager. I should be 100% loyal to that. If that person is not fitting that role, I should not select him. And I'll simply say that, buddy, you don't fit into this, but as a friend, I will help you in getting a suitable role elsewhere. So I think that kind of clarity should be there. Whatever role we are doing, we should segregate the roles and we should be loyal to each one of them in those ways. Problem happens when we start mixing up the things. Then there is a conflicted, then cognitive dissonance and all those things come into picture. So that right, is my advice.
Very, very well explained, sir. Very well explained. As technology has been at your heart, what are the most significant technological challenges you have been part of? And what changes do you foresee with the upcoming technological surge, namely AI, ML, blockchain, Web3, etc.?
Okay. And if I look back through my career journey, I've gone through, quite a few, seen quite a few transitions. Starting with telecom, when I entered the telecom, the mobile telephony was starting, and I was involved in the initial phase when BSNL launched its mobile telephony. Prepaid was a new thing that you pay the money and you get it talk time. So we brought prepaid into India. So initial days, setting up that. And then there was a journey through this 2G, 3G, 4G, and now the network is going to 5G. And during that period, we have seen, quite a few changes, development, advancements in the telecom space. And after that, when I joined Signi Energy, we started this lithium-ion, batteries. Signi was the first company to make lithium-ion batteries in India, although it was in solar projects they were using. Later on, when e-mobility or electric vehicles came, that came handy, and this company transitioned into EV battery manufacturing. So I was involved in that as well. So I've seen, in the energy, the solar DC technology, in the electric vehicle, and through and through in telecom. I've been into, this technology transitions and seen the change. And now, as you said, that AI, machine learning, then blockchain, distributed ledger, Web 3.0, all those things are coming. And things are going, the pace of change is going to be much faster than we have seen in the past. I remember one book by Alvin Toffler, Future Shock. Alvin Toffler is known for his trilogy of books, The Power Shift, Future Shock, and The Third Wave. The Future Shock, he gives a very good concept. He says that what technological development has happened in last 20 years. Compare it with the technology development that happened preceding 200 years. 200 with 20, it will be comparable. Next, he says that, okay, you look at the technology development in last 2 years and compare that with the preceding 20 years. Both will be comparable. So he says the technology is accelerating at a pace of 10x. In next 2 years, we'll see the technology changes that happened in last 20 years. Or maybe last 5 years, we'll see equivalent to what happened in last 50 years. So going by this rule we have been observing, if I tried many scenarios and I see this rule is not failing till now. So in future also it will not fail. So we see, look forward to a great technology boom in future. Startup ecosystem will bring many innovations, and let's see how it pans out.
Right, sir. Now that you have qualified as an independent director, what values do you offer the corporate world?
Okay, so first I will talk about the role of independent director versus the management. The management of a company is tasked with profitability or viability of the company. They have to create value by means of profitability, the putting across the systems and processes, efficiency, and creating value as a result. However, the board has a different function. Board is required for a long-term value creation for the stakeholders, which lies in the long-term sustainability. So independent director has a task which is more ingrained into sustainability aspects. That how the company will be sustainable, we have to follow the corporate governance, we have to follow all the compliances and everything to be in place. And our strategy, our direction, our risk mitigation, everything stems out of this framework. So this has to be understood very clearly. So here I would say that the role of a independent director is not like in the role of an auditor, like fault finding and pointing out mistakes and all, but as an enabler. We have to figure out what are the weaker areas and how we can strengthen so that long-term sustainability of the company is ensured. I think that is something which is it should be the value system for a board and independent directors. So that is how I see this.
Okay, right, sir. We are building FaceTime with Leaders community for cross-pollination of knowledge and a community of independent directors for having a better corporate governance in the country. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hevel Mehta, and the whole development team, world development team?
Okay. See, currently India is going through a phase of a rapid industrialization. Our growth story will unfold with the industrialization of the country, bringing new companies, new organizations will come on board. And if the industry is going through such a rapid pace of growth, there are irregularities are bound to creep into. It happens. And we have seen in the past, for example, in 2008, we have seen Lehman Brothers in US. Then we have, in 2009, we have seen Satyam. 2018, we have seen this one, Island FS. And recently, the Silicon Valley Bank, 2-3 days back, it was very much in news. So what is happening that these companies, there may be some companies are not doing so well on the corporate governance part intentionally with the criminal intent, but some of those simply fall apart because they are not following the practices or compliances. So this is very important. So having a framework in place where the corporate governance is taken care of. So otherwise, this rapid industrialization will creep into some bugs which will let the whole economy to fall. We have seen that a single company like Island FS can bring down the whole economy of the country, or maybe single Lehman Brothers can bring the whole world economy. A single company has such a potential to bring down the whole economy of the world. So we have to be very careful about it, and we have to bring the ecosystem in place. So what is required for this? We require the capacity. We need a capacity building at a same pace or similar pace at which the industrialization is happening. And this team, World Development Team, as well as Directors Institute, they are building, they are doing a very, very fine job in building this capacity for this nation, which can enable this country or this economy to grow at a faster pace. So that is how I see it. Yeah.
Right, sir. Great. That was fantastic conversing with you. And I'm confident that your insights will inspire the future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Paramjit Singh, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity. Thanks.